Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Movie Trivia Schmoedown!
What's going on, Schmoedown fans? It's the season premiere episode of the Schmoedown Rundown. As you could tell, we have a new logo. We have a new theme song. We don't really have a new attitude. We're kind of just the same. But, you know, it's me. I'm Aaron. I'm your host. Joining me, Mr. Frank Janish, the stat man. What's going on, dude?
What is up? What a great doubleheader we had. So much fun. Really looking forward to how the events of Friday's festivities transpire throughout the rest of the season. Should be a lot of fun.
All right. Also joining us, Mr. Paul Wolf. Sir.
How you doing? And let's just get this out of the way. Happy belated birthday, buddy.
Oh, thank you very kindly. And thank you to all of Schmoville that wished me a happy birthday. I really appreciate that. And even, you know, friend of the show, Miss Movies, Brianne Chandler, wished me a happy birthday. That was really nice. I really, really appreciate that. I'm 1 year older, but not 1 year wiser. So let's keep that going. Before we get into it, not a lot of Schmoedown news this week. As a matter of fact, I have none on the slate. One thing I wanted to get across was Jon Schnepp was out this week in his match with Team Superhero News. He did not get to team up with Robert Meyer Burnett, and that's due to an injury. That's legit. That's they're not making that up. He did have a legit injury. He's fine. It's nothing life-threatening, but I just want to throw out there that we do wish a speedy recovery to the Master Sweaty himself, Mr. Schnepp. Get well soon, man. We hope to see you back real soon. So like I said, it's the season premiere. It's season number 4 of the Schmoedown, season number 2 of this show. And what a kickoff. It was a doubleheader. Team match, we had a singles match, and I'll be damned if they weren't both fantastic. I don't think you could have asked for a better opening kickoff. You could have had a title match, but I guess that's the only real way you could kick it off even better. Let's jump into it. It was number 10, Superhero News, Hector Navarro and Adam Havlicek versus Team Heroes, which was Robert Meyer Burnett and a filling in John Campea. A couple things to note before we get to the scoring of the match. I really enjoyed the vignettes that they're doing now, which, you know, they had them for the Ultimate Schmoedown. They had them for a couple of the bigger matches. You know, detailing what's happening, I really like that. It gives you that WWE feel once again. The new graphics with the new colors. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but they're separating the different competitors on the scoreboard. One's in red and one's in blue. Mm-hmm. And that's generally, you know, if you know your boxing or your MMA, there's a red corner and a blue corner. I don't know where they got that idea. Wink, wink. But, yeah, you know, first things first, I really, and I want to kick this to the panel. This can just be like an open discussion. John Campea talking so much crap to Hector Navarro before this match even started, calling him the little engine that choked, which I thought that was funny because Campea didn't win either. And as a matter of fact, he doesn't even want a Schmoedown match. So that kind of threw me for a loop. But I'm going to kick this with you first, Frank. What do you think of John Campea's renewed vigor, if you will, in the Schmoedown? Do you want to see him compete more?
After this showing in the team match, I definitely want to see more of Campea. He performed really, really well, and it just made me, after the match was done, I was like, I want to see more Campea. I didn't think, you know, he wanted to take his break, and we only had one match, and then he showed up later for his match, and that was fine because it was just one, you know, subject, and then he was in the Inner Geekdom, and he was okay in that for the most part. But in this one, in this match, he really showed up, outperformed my expectations, which wasn't really high to begin with, just because I didn't really know what to expect with him being out so long in this kind of format. I definitely want to see more of him, and I wonder if Schnepp is willing to take, if this was just a one-time deal and he's in, or is just Campea permanently part of that trio in some form or fashion.
I don't think Schnepp's elbowing anybody to get back into the Schmoedown. to be frank, if you will, about that. Yeah, I mean, Kristian said it was they're going to do the Freebird rule with Team Heroes. I assume it's the same way they're doing Team TV talk where they can all just kind of interchange. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll see Campion more. He kind of alluded to, oh, I'm going to stay retired, and if they need me, I'll do it, but, I'm not going to jump into it, which, I mean, that's fine. We can see him on special occasions. Paul, what do you think about Campy? You want to see him a little bit more?
Yeah, what the first note I actually wrote down during the pre-match was, I put it in quotes, I'm not going to lie, Campy is really good at Smack Talk. I mean, he brought a new flavor to steal a Schnepp line to the match, and I do want to see more of him, regardless if he wants to retire. But he said that before. He said he wanted to retire a couple times before, and he keeps coming back. He was surprised us with the Inner Geekdom Championship, and now he's with Team Heroes. And I caught something in the promo too, where Robert Meyer Burnett said, with regards to Schnepp, we had a good run. I caught that at that beginning part. And so I don't know if that means Schnepp is really done or not. And you kind of alluded to he's not really elbowing himself back in. So I'm not concerned, but I honestly thought Campy brought a little bit more to the team than Schnepp did. And I really think that him and Robert would have probably a better chance at moving up those ranks with Campia than maybe with a Schnepp. So yeah, I want to see more of Campia.
Someone going through the barbershop window? I
don't know if he's going to be that ruthless to him, but I definitely see some type of changing of the guard a little bit in that team.
All right, let's jump into the scoring. Let's see what happened here. In round one, it was Superhero News getting 8 points, Heroes getting 9 with the marker boards that actually, just a quick side note, I thought the marker boards were actually pretty good in this episode. The markers were very bold. You could see what was happening, so that was a nice change of pace. In round two, it was Superhero News going 5 of 6 for 10 points in the category of movie release dates. Heroes going 5 of 6 for 9 points in famous directors. And of course, Superhero News got 1 steal for 1 point, as did Heroes. 1 steal, 1 point. In the third round, Superhero News got the 3-pointer. Heroes got the 1 and the 5, and Heroes defeats Superhero News and covers the spread 25-22. Frank, I want to kick it to you for this one. What did you think of this match overall?
This matchup was amazing. It was great. I really, really enjoyed this match. The first round was great. That's when I saw Campia, come out, and he outperformed everybody by 1 point. He got 5 points. Everybody else scored 4. Campia could be a real difference maker here in this match for Robert Meyer Burnett to win this match. Going into the second round, they passed up Quotes, which is, I think, a smart move. I don't know. Quotes might become more feared than movie release dates, I have a sense.
Oh, really? Okay.
People are really scared of Quotes. It's a tricky, but I think it's going to take someone to pick up Quotes to see how presented to them.
Okay, fair enough.
Then I think maybe someone will be like, okay, I know how I can deal with it. But they went to directors. They did pretty well in directors. Superhero News, when they got movie release dates, I was like, this could be really bad. This could be bad. And then they just started mowing through this thing, and I was ecstatic because I have Adam on my team. And they're rolling. Yeah, it was amazing. And, Kristian and Mark were just as surprised. And they come out of that second round tied with Heroes, and the third round just and the Superhero News. They performed pretty well throughout the whole match up until that point. Robert Meyer Burnett got the 1, and Campia missed the 3. I said, "Holy crap! We could have this. Superhero News could pull this out. Their fate is in their own hands at this point. They couldn't pull it out once again. But this was a pretty good match. If we look at the points earned, Heroes earned 65.79% of the points available. Superhero News earned 57.89%. Both were 1 for 1 on steals. Pretty even match throughout. Could have went either way. It went Heroes, and that's how it goes.
That James Bond question at the end, it seemed to me like when it was read, I was like, that seems like kind of an easy question. And then I got to thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, but aren't there like 25 James Bond movies?
There's so many, man.
Like
I think it can go either way on Bond unless you're a huge Bond fan, I think.
Right. And that's what I was thinking. I was like, that seems like an easy question. And then I was like, oh, I have no idea. So I'm not a huge James Bond fan, so when that came up, I was like, I hope they know it, and it just didn't come together for him. Paul, what did you think of this?
From top to bottom, I really enjoyed every minute of this. Looking from Robert Marbonet's little robe he came out with to purposefully, I don't know, sitting next to Hector for the whiteboard round. And you guys had already said it, is we had our trepidation, we had our complaints about the whiteboard, but they had good handwriting. You could read what they had to say. They got creative at drawing on it, and it really worked out. I wrote down that superhero news, out of all of the questions in round one, 50% were answered correctly from both of them, and so it was 8 to 8. They got 8 right, but then they got 8 wrong. So I didn't say who exactly. I didn't break it down, Adam versus Hector, who got right, who got wrong, but the 50% of them that they got right. But compared to Heroes, they're only 56%. They got right in that one. So again, I didn't separate it between who got what, but it was a really no. If you want to, you can. No big deal. But yeah, I thought that because I was intrigued because that new round and wanted to see how that was happening, and I love that they named it the Freddie Prinze Jr. rule. And I really did like Campia's nudge there with the Nerf herder at the beginning when he's like, "It's Nerf herder, right? Because you can get points for that." That was perfect. It was a nice little dig, but he didn't harp on it. He didn't dwell on that too much, and he just kept it going. And like I said, he kept showing up and doing really, really well. Round 2, holy crap. I mean, superhero news, release dates, they ran that table until they got to that last question. And I don't know if you heard it, but Mance in the background.
How could you not?
How could you not? You heard him screaming, "Oh my God!" He was screaming and how good they were doing. And it's just, I'd be honest with you, I was always a couple years off each one. So I'm it just amazes me on how they just got 2 points. It's just all the way through without hesitation. And I just, I saw, movie quotes versus release dates. It's just I was nervous for them, but oh my God, they just knocked that out of the water. And it was awesome. Same with Heroes with the directors. I was nervous there too, but they did really, really well there too. I mean, they only missed one. They asked for 2 multiple choices, got 1 of the 2, but I mean, those are some tough questions. Cecil B. DeMille. I mean, seriously.
Yeah,
wow. Cuts. That was tough. And, that could be up for question of the year if you really want to think about it. That one, for at least nominated anyway. I'm like, wow, they really pulled that one. And that third round again, it comes down to that last question again for superhero news. They're 0-2, but Judgment Night and now James Bond got him. And the one thing that I heard at the very end, and I don't know if you want to toss it to you guys, is Kristian was talking about, and they even touched upon it in the interview, about breaking up. If they lose again, or what the challenge might be, that if they lose again, they have to break up. It sounded like that might be a rule. I don't know if that's an introduction to a new rule or not. Honestly, if that's the case, they lost 2 matches on the last question both times. How many times did you see JTE do the same thing? And he's still around and he's still on teams. I hope they don't break up superhero news because I like that team. They just got a bad question. They got 2 bad questions. If it wasn't for those 2 questions, I bet they would 500 or better, obviously. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but it was a great opening match, and I thoroughly enjoyed every second of it. And hats off to Heroes and John Campia bringing what he brought.
I would make the argument that superhero news at 0-2 is better than a lot of teams that have won.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, they are quite strong. And
better than ETC.
Oh,
there you go.
Oh, wow. Okay, all right. Well, something else I wanted to bring up. In the first round, I kind of chuckled to myself a little bit because Campia missed 2 questions where I was very confused because he missed the director of Arrival.
Yeah.
And as many times as he is shit on that movie, he missed, or no, I'm sorry, he answered Arrival. That wasn't the question. He answered Arrival for the J.A. Bayona question. And I was like, dude, as many times as you shit on that movie, you should know at least who directs it. So he got that wrong. And then he got the Blade Runner Android question wrong, which is another movie that he shits on all the time, that he didn't know was a replicant. So I was like, dude, that kind of threw me for a loop. But yeah, superhero news at 0-2, I think, is better than a lot of teams in the league with a winning record. I would put them ahead of ETC, Wolves of Steel. I think they're better than all those teams. So hopefully they can get back on track with their next match. Team Heroes, I take nothing away from them. Burnett and Campia, strong team, strong showing for them as a team. Burnett just continues to impress. You don't think so?
Individually, I'm not quite where you're at, I think, Aaron, but I still need to see more, I think, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, all right. Not a big enough sample size for you. All right.
Yeah,
I feel the Credible Hulk is coming out.
Oh, no. You won't like him when he's got stats.
Not quite. I haven't.
You wouldn't like him when he has stats. I love it.
I haven't done a deep dive into Robert Meyer Burnett's solo performance in team. Maybe that's down the road. But
take it easy on him. Take it easy on him. He's a friend of the He's a friend of the show. Take it easy.
Hey, I think that information might benefit him to help him become more proficient in areas he may be lacking.
Oh, okay, maybe. And then maybe he'll never talk to us again.
That's
all right.
Well, a possibility, yes.
Also, at the end of the match, Commissioner Harloff went ahead and revoked Mark Andreyko's Inner Geekdom title shot and gave it to Hector Navarro. So, what's up with that? Paul, I'll kick this one to you. What do you think of that? What do you think of Mark Andreyko just getting the rug pulled out from under him and Hector Navarro getting the shot of the championship? What the heck?
I got two sides to this. Number one, he's my number one pick on my damn fantasy team, so that doesn't have a match now, and so there you go. There's out the window. However, it's kind of fair in a way because Hector was the last person standing next to Robert Meyer Burnett in the Inner Geekdom Championship, so in a way, he sort of deserves a rematch one-on-one with him. So I kind of see that as a okay thing. I really do.
What about you, Frank?
I think they should have had Andreyko and Navarro go at it, and then that winner plays Burnett.
Yeah, maybe. Not bad. What about a triple threat match? I mean, come on.
Maybe he's just hiding the fact that it could have been a scheduling issue. I mean, we don't know.
Well, that aside, but I think...
Yeah.
I mean, that's always a possibility on everything.
Yeah.
Have Andreyko and Navarro go at it, and then maybe you throw Campia in there as well, because I think he was the third guy to drop out, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, you could have those three.
I don't know if I'm ready to anoint John Campia as like a number one contender yet. I think we need to just pump the brakes on that. He had a decent showing, but I think he's far from any kind of title contention.
Well, we're just talking about the Inner Geekdom, so we could say the same thing about Andreyko, because he didn't even compete in that championship. Inaugural match, if you will.
And once again, Frank has shut me down. All right. Let's move on to the big singles match this week. It was the Beast, William Bibbiani, or as I like to call him, Bibbs, versus JTE, one half of the tag team champions of Team Patriots and faction, the Lions Den. That was a mouthful. Guys, it didn't go the way that we thought. Let's put it on Front Street right there. First things first, I got to give Finstock and Jeff Snyder some credit, because I thought in the opening vignette before, or the opening interview before JT came out, I thought that Jeff Snyder on the mic is getting way more comfortable, and I think it's bringing out a lot more of his character, and I really like that. And Finstock's always good on the mic, so him just ripping on Bibbiani, calling him Tribbiani or whatever, talking about sock puppets, like he was cracking me up. Let's take a deep dive into the match. Round one, it was Bibbiani getting 7 of 8 for 7 points, missing his first question. JTE going 5 of 8 for 5 points. In round two, Bibbiani goes 2 of 4 for 4 points under the category of scores and soundtracks. JTE goes with dramas, gets them all for 6 points, and JTE got 1 steal for 1 point. In round three, Bibbiani got the 1 point question, and JTE did not have to answer, and he TKOs the Beast 13-12. JTE is the Beast Slayer. Oh, what did you think of this?
Wow. Yeah. Again, two sides to every story. Damn. It didn't go the way I thought, but JT is on my team, so I was happy with that. So here's the thing. I noticed this, and I told you this earlier before we started filming, is I noticed Snyder a little bit of a dig on the JT being drafted last. And so, again, want to preface, he was my gimme pick, so I wanted to pick my picks that I wanted first. I knew JT was coming to me anyway, so I wanted to do that last because he was coming to me anyway. So I got my other picks out of the way first. So it was kind of a strategy on my part. It was not on purpose. I didn't mean to be mean to him. So get that out of the way. But yeah, I completely believe what you had to say there, Aaron, about the Finstock. Oh my God. The pizza guy, Tribbiani, everything, even with Bibiani's growl thing, that was really funny. But then JTE stated something, and I think he did a JTE. He said, "The jungle rules the kingdom."
Yeah, what the hell does that even mean?
I had to write that down. I'm like, did he mess up something that he? And I don't know. That really was funny, but it was a good start because that's JTE. And across the board, going down the match, they preface the fact that the winner gets Levine and Reilly, and then the winner of that one will get a title shot against whomever the champion might be down the line. Bibiani missing that last question, movie characters, and just going down the line with the wheel scores and soundtracks. We now know Bibiani's Achilles heel. Scores and soundtracks. He even got that in that third round too. I mean, and to be quite honest, those were tough questions. I was completely blank on a couple of those as well. So great on JTE's part, picking dramas and sticking with dramas. Because I mean, you saw the reaction of the room. You saw what they said. They were shocked that he stuck with it. But look what he did. He got all of them. He had one multiple choice, but he got all the points. And that third round, he technically knocked him a TKO. JTE didn't have to answer a single question in that last round, and he ended up winning. And you saw the room. It took me a couple of seconds to pick my jaw off the floor. I was completely shocked with it, but what a match. Yeah, again, great kickoff to this season, and I can't wait to see what happens next with JTE, because, you even saw him when he walked in. His intro, he was so confident, and everyone's like, false confidence? Is it really? What's going on with him? But he's, that title belt must have done something. And he's got this new confidence. He beat Bibiani, and he's moving on to potentially get a title shot. And you know what? More power to him. I'm pretty proud of him right now.
Frank, before I get to you, I just want to. I feel like that's familiar. Someone said, I think it was on this panel last week, where someone said there's something to be said for JTE's confidence, and that could take him far. I don't know who that smart guy was.
I don't know
but
either.
He seems really intelligent. So, Frank, let me kick it to you. What did you think of this match overall?
This match was somewhat surprising and somewhat not. I figured it would be close. JTE made it close in that first round, and then he really opened it up in the second round due to the fact Bibiani got scores and soundtracks. When that happened, this right here is not good. I don't care who you are. Scores and soundtracks is not an easy through.
Yeah, I would agree.
And when Bibiani opted not to go multiple choice on that third one, I could understand why he wouldn't, but he needs to try and get a point, at least try and take an educated guess, because he was really stole his second question. That's a huge, huge thing, especially in the second round. You give up points in the second round, it's never a good thing. Going back, though, to the first round real quick, Bibiani, up until that last and eighth question in the first round, he had answered 21 straight questions correctly.
Wow.
So it's pretty impressive that he went there level. Once that eighth question came up and he missed it, I was curious as to how he was going to respond, and then he spun scores and soundtracks twice.
Ugh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. And then he did okay. Then he got the first question. I was like, okay. Then he missed the multiple choice. Then he missed the third, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. JT has to have a horrible second round, which JT's a confident player, so he can muscle through these second rounds, and he ends up usually coming out with a lead, which he did, and then in the third round he squanders it. But what happened with Bibiani, keeping scores and soundtracks for the three-pointer, I think I did say this last week, all the breaks have to go JTE's way to win this match. And it did.
Yeah.
And it did. But I can't
did.
take anything from JTE because he still performed very well. He answered 71.43%, earned 72% of his points. Bibiani took a huge nosedive, 56.67% of his questions. He earned only 48% of his possible points. Horrible second showing for Bibiani. If we take a look at his numbers a little closer, from his first match, scoring 100%, His average is now down to 82.76, so that's a 17-point drop. I thought his drop wouldn't be that big. I was thinking maybe 8-9%, but he went super double digits, nearly 20%, which is a huge, huge drop. A lot of people out there thought he was going to dominate again. Wasn't the case, especially when you get scores and soundtracks. I mean,
it's a tough category, man. It's tough. But let me pose this question, Frank. I'll kick it back to you. Do you think that JTE won this match, or did Bibiani lose this match?
No, JTE won this match. He performed really well, and the fact that he didn't have to answer a question in round 3 is only an added bonus, because if he had to answer questions in round 3 to win, who knows how that... Because I was thinking, are we going to see another JTE failure? Because he was up 2 points going to that third round.
Yeah, could have got ugly.
Could have been. It could have been another, situation like the past 3-4 matches where he just completely just craps the bed. Unfortunately for him, he didn't have to answer a question. So it's interesting when someone's KO'd or TKO'd, does that person on the opposite end, did they really win, or were the other person just not as good? And so, but in this case, I think JTE answered everything that he needed to answer, and it put the pressure on Bibiani to go perfect in that third round, and he couldn't do it.
It was a tough day for the Bibiani. What do you think, Paul? Do you think that JTE won this match, or do you think that Bibbs squandered it?
I concur with Frank. I think it was JTE won it. That second round with that drama spin, getting all those questions and taking that lead heading into the third round, where he didn't have to squander it and didn't have to blow it in that third round where he sometimes does. Yeah, I really believe he actually won it rather than Bibiani lost it.
Fair point. Dare I say this could be the year of Little Evil. Man, he is starting off the year with a bang, with a huge victory. He's already won half of the team champions. Could possibly be the soon #1 contender.
I got something to say about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because that is the absolute bullcrap. I'm sorry. That doesn't make any sense to me. How after 2 matches, JTE could be in line for a title shot. He'll be a win over 500, or no, at 500, I believe, to get a title shot. If he beats Reilly or Levine, he'll be at 500. He'll be 5-5, and then he gets a title shot. That doesn't make any damn sense to me. Even if he beats Levine, especially, how does he get a title shot? With Reilly as his opponent, he beats him. I could reluctantly agree to that. But if he ends up playing Levine, then it absolutely makes no sense to me whatsoever. And it boggled my mind that Kristian even said that he could get a title shot if he wins the next match. That's, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, why don't you tell us how you really feel about it?
Yeah, if I may, sure. I mean, looking at that top 10 list of the competitors, I see where Frank's going. I mean, if you think JT is going to get a title shot, I mean, you got to get through McWeeny, you got Snyder at 8, Makuga, then you got Levine. If Levine beats Reilly, okay, then you got Levine, and then he could that'd be ranked 6. I mean, if you look at the list, if you want to go by rankings, Roca at 1, Ellis at 2, who's taking a break, then Reilly at 3. If Reilly ends up playing JT and then he beats Reilly, okay, that makes complete sense. But Harloff really should, I mean, he's ranked 4th. Technically, he should be the one in line, but I guess it's just not in the cards at the moment. That's just the technique. I mean, you got Clark Wolf up there at 5. So, yeah, it just, the way it works out, it doesn't make sense, but it's a long way away. February 17th. Is the title shot for Roca. So, I mean, it's going to be after that anyway. So you never know where the cards may fall during that time.
Listen, guys, I understand your points. I understand you're giving me the stats. You're giving me the numbers of why JT shouldn't be in this title contention. But I'm going to use a little UFC logic for you. Sometimes it's not about the numbers. Sometimes it's about the best match that you want to see. And I will tell you a story about a fighter named Chael Sonnen, who perhaps did not deserve the middleweight championship title shot that he got from one Anderson Silva, who was at the time probably the greatest UFC fighter on the planet. But he did get that shot. He talked his way into it, and he, for about 5 rounds, beat the piss out of Anderson Silva, ended up losing at the end with a triangle choke. But anyway, the point is that sometimes it's not about the numbers. It's about what match do people want to see, and what could people want to see more right now than JTE come full circle and beat Dan Murrell or the Outlaw John Roca and be the movie trivia Schmoedown champion. Sometimes it's not about the numbers. Just saying.
I would like to see JT get a shot, but I would just like his road to be a little more storied, a little more to it, so that when you do get to that championship match for him, it's bigger than anything you might have seen before, because it's would not even have to face either Roca or Murrell on the way to a potential title shot, depending on how the Murrell-Roca match works out.
Yeah, because you said,
or even face Ellis.
Yeah, he'd be 5-5. If he'd be 5-5 when he did the championship match, if he was to get one.
Right. So he would just leapfrog all these people that he hasn't beaten Ellis. He's already lost to Reilly twice, I'm sorry. And I'm almost fairly certain that he might lose to Murrell or Roca along the way. But that remains to be seen right off the bat after, hey, I'm not the man in charge.
Started from the bottom. Now we here. All right, let's move on. Let's get out of this topic, for God's sakes, and let's kick it to the wild man, Josh McCouga, with a Schmoedown Fantasy League update.
All right, Schmoedown fans, if you are competing in the Schmoedown Fantasy League, a huge scoring day for Team Heroes with 25 points. You cut 22 in half, you get 11 for Team Superhero News. Now, in the other match, Bibiani and JTE, you thought it might be a really high-scoring match based off Bibiani's last match. However, the guy only scores 12 points, leaving you with 6. You cut that in half. But if you took the leap of faith on JTE, the littlest of evils, the shocker of all shockers, he cut the Russian. He knocked him down. If yous can change, we can all change. He scored 13 points. You're looking good in your fantasy league right now.
Thank you, Josh, for that fantasy update. Hope everybody's team is doing well so far. All right, guys, let's jump into the team previews for next week. It will be Team Tuff Beats, a fan favorite, Perry Nemiroff, Jonathan Voitko, versus a favorite of ours, Team ETC, Elliot Dewberry and Ricky Hayberg. Paul, I'm going to kick it to you first, sir. How do you see this going? Do you like ETC in this match?
No. Back to you.
Thank you for that expert analysis.
Fly ball caught. Honestly, I touched upon this with the preview show. This was my highlight. What can you say? I mean, seeing Bibiani's second match, it not go well. It's Tuff Beats' second match. Let's hope it's not the same outcome.
Sophomore slump.
Yeah, it's that Hootie's second album thing. It just didn't work out. I really do hope that they continue their great teamwork. The face team of the year, only having one match. I see. I'm looking right here at number 6, ETC, number 6. Why are they even on this list? I don't know why, but again, Frank said it, not the man in charge. But I don't see it. I see it as a handicap match as usual. Ricky, why are you even here? So I just see that Dewberry's going to carry it again. Prove me wrong, Ricky. I would like to see some effort. If there might be some effort from him, it could be competitive. But I don't see it as strong with the new rule. I see more goofy writings on a whiteboard. I see more silly jokes. I see just not taking it seriously. It's just I don't see that happening for ETC. I think Tuff Beats again with their teamwork, with what their knowledge is. They're there all the time. They're in the background. They're always at the Collider Studios. They're hosting shows. They're editing. They're getting the notes for the shows. It's just they're always there. They're always gathering up that knowledge. And again, it could happen to Tuff Beats, that sophomore slump. But I personally don't see that happening.
Paul, I think you made a great point without even realizing it. Now, that first round with the marker boards, both players get a chance to answer for the team. So if Ricky has another shit game, if you will, that could sink ETC real quick before they even get started. Because if Tuff Beats can get 2 points after each question, in that first round and ETC can only muster 1 or 0, they might be done before they even get started. So that's going to be very important that in round 1 that Ricky does something, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you think if Tuff Beats gets all the points, both of them, that's 16 points. You know, if Dewberry gets all the points by himself, it's 16-8. So that's a tough hill to climb in that second round.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're playing from behind the whole time.
Right.
Yeah, they got to get off to a good start. What do you think, Frank?
Yeah, Ricky is going to be exposed in a way he hasn't demonstrated because due to
Family show.
Due to the lack of questions he's had to answer on an individual level. Now we're about tripling that amount in one round almost, you know. So it's not going to look good for Ricky. I actually might feel bad for Ricky because it's going to look really bad for him.
Don't feel bad for Ricky.
Okay,
Don't ever feel bad for him.
But, you know, Tuff Beats, I think they will take a little bit of a dive, but it's going to be survivable because they're going up against ETC. And I still think they will come out with a narrow victory. It ain't going to be like they had it against Double Jeopardy. I think this will be a close match as well. I suspect one or the other, someone on Tuff Beats is going to have an off game. And it's going to make it closer than most people might think. And nonetheless, they will pull it out in the end in the third round and come away with the victory. I'm not saying a knockout or TKO, but they'll have to answer a couple questions in that third round and come away with the victory. And I think it's still very much in Tuff Beats' favor.
Okay, so you're saying you think that one of Tuff Beats may have an off game. Who do you think it would be out of the two?
I actually think it might be Jonathan.
Okay.
Because, and I'm only saying that because everyone's been touting him and how he can be pretty good, which I believe.
Sure.
But then usually, you know, it just doesn't always work out that way. We're not that smart. Because if the JTE Bibiani match taught us anything, who the hell knows what can happen?
Frank, I don't know what you're talking about. We're the experts of the Schmoedown, and we predict as such. So I don't know what kind of logic you're talking about. But for me personally, I think this is a statement match for Tuff Beats. If Tuff Beats can come away with a KO or a TKO, they have just beaten a team in ETC that, dare I say, was knocking on the door of a title shot. So if Tuff Beats can come in and smoke ETC, they're going straight to the top. They may be next in line to get that title shot, and they would deserve it. They would absolutely deserve it. Jonathan, like you said, Frank, he's riding the high. He's highly touted. He's excited to play. I think he's going to be a good player, whether it be singles or team. And Perry, I still don't think we have a big enough sample size on Perry either. So I'm interested to see how they do in this match. I want to see that first round, I think, as Paul indicated, is going to be big-time crucial. A better view of what Perry and Jonathan can do individually and as a team later on. So look out for Tuff Beats, man. They could be right in there as top contenders by season's end. It would not surprise me at all. Also on the slate this week, we have a singles match between Mark Yodi Reilly, Frank's favorite player, and Sam Levine. Frank, give me the breakdown, man. What do you think of this matchup?
Big matchup for both players. A little more for Reilly than Levine. And not just because of what I said last week about Reilly, but he really needs this win to get himself into that top 3, top 2, to reclaim a title shot. Levine, he's been really well. He's been doing really well in his 5 matches, answering at a 70% clip. Very similar to Reilly, who's at 71.67. Levine is very good at stealing. He's 5 of 6. Reilly's no slouch either when he gets the opportunity, 7 of 10. So they're very similar in terms of how they've performed, not just in the match, but overall with competitors. You know, Levine lost to Clark Wolf, and he lost to Mark Ellis. Few bumps along the way last year. So these guys are kind of off their game at the moment. It's going to be really, really interesting to see will it be a close match? I really think it will. When I take a look at average points per match, Levine, as of last year, averaged 13 points a match. Over Reilly's career, he averaged 12 points.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, wow.
That number's a little skewed because take a look at the 4 wins he had in the 2014 tournament.
Sure.
Which didn't have as many opportunities to score points. So, but taking a look at Levine's number 13, it's a pretty average number. We're going to need some above average performances here and I think we will see that in the victor. If Reilly wins this, I don't know if, due to Ellis's status, he could easily jump up to number 2 in the rankings. Levine, I think he is, in Harloff's ranking, he is at number 6, like I have him. And I think he probably jumps to number 3.
Really? Okay.
I think he could because then Harloff, he'll have a match coming up, and then Harloff can, with a good performance and a win, he can slide right into that number 2 spot.
It's getting a little muddy because you have Clark Wolf there too, sitting at 5.
Yeah.
And she beat Sam Levine, so it gets a little muddy in that top 5, which is fine. They'll just have to sort that out later. Paul, what do you think of this Titanic matchup? It's going to be a big one.
If you want to say it that way, yeah. I kind of look at it both. I kind of look at it both of they're both limping into this match. It's a matchup where it's almost like in the NFL, you've got 2 teams winless coming into a match. One of them's got to win, but they both have to. It's a bummer on both sides because they both need a win to kind of reinvigorate what they had. And seeing Reilly kind of fall since he lost to Merle, and Levine just starts. It's just kind of bumpy road going downhill as well. Something's got to give in this one. They both have to bring their A game. They both have everything to gain, and getting up to that ranking. That was the thing I was looking at too, is that ranking is, would you kind of equate Ellis and Wolf being idle, and do you think it's fair that they would jump? Ellis is kind of taking a break, and Wolf is actually out with something like a physical ailment. She can't speak. I mean, she's getting there. I saw on Twitter she's finally allowed to talk now. They are kind of idle, so do you think it's actually fair that people could jump them because they have a legitimate reason why they're out?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you got to be active to play. I mean, that's just how it goes. Whether, like, if you have a team, like in college football, if you have like a bye week and you have a team that's at 4-0 and a team that's at 3-0 because they had a bye week, and the 4-0 team jumps them in the polls, it makes sense. I mean, it's not permanent, so
sure,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean that was just kind of my thought there too, and I really want to see this. I think it's going to be knockout, drag out. They both have, like I said, they need to come in there and start swinging. And it's that second round that's going to probably get it one way or the other. That's going to do it for him.
It's a hard match to predict because I feel like Sam Levine is so up and down. He beats Hal Rudnick, then he loses to Clark, then he beats Jeff Snyder, and it's like, well, which one's the real Sam Levine? Like, I need to know which one's the real player. And Mark Reilly, I mean, it's been stated many times. Catch the show last week if you want more on that. It's been a bumpy road for him in teams and in singles, so you kind of wonder if his psyche is the flip of JTE, where JTE's got the confidence now, and Reilly's kind of, I mean, for lack of a better term, he's like Charlie Brown, man. He's kicking the can. I want to see Reilly come back because I want to see him come back to that former glory and be a title contender. But this is a toss-up for me. Like, I have no idea who's going to win this. So I'm kind of on Frank's wavelength. I see it going really tight down to the wire. 13-12 seems right about where I think it's going to end up. It's going to be an interesting match to watch, that's for sure. But let's get down to some pick'em. Let's pick some winners in this match. Let's take a step back and go to the team match. Tuff Beats versus ETC. Paul, I'm going to kick this one off to you first. Who you got?
I've got Tuff Beats by 3.
Tuff Beats by 3. I like it. Frank, what do you got, man?
Yeah, I got Tuff Beats, and I will take them by 5.
5, okay. I will take Tuff Beats as well, and I will take them by over 9,000. Okay. Let's jump back to... yes.
Nice.
And thank you. And let's go to the singles prediction for this week. We just talked about it. It is Mark Reilly versus Sam Levine. Frank, who you got?
Man, I really don't know.
That's tough. It's tough.
Fuck, man. I'm gonna... And I'm...
We'll get kicked off of YouTube for that one for sure.
And not because of what I said in the past. I am going to take Levine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
After Mark Reilly wrote you that nice comment and was like really classy about what you said and was like, yeah, he has every right to do that. He was like super first class, and you're still taking a crap on the guy. All right, Paul, what do you think, man?
I'm back and forth on this one too. I will go Reilly by 1.
Wow, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I guess that leaves it up to me to be the tiebreaker. the thing that keeps popping in my head is, will the real Sam Levine please stand up? I don't know who you are, sir.
Even if he does, you couldn't tell.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Well played. Well played. I want to see Mark Reilly get his confidence back. I want to see that more than anything right now. I will take Mark Reilly. I'll take him by 2. I think he can win by 2 and get a big victory, and then he will be on a collision course with one Little Evil once again. We get JTE and Reilly 3. Okay. That'll be the first 3, I believe, in the Schmoedown. Is that right, Frank?
That would be correct, because
right.
we waited on that Romance 3.
Oh, my God, yeah, Romance 3. That's still going to be a while off, I think. But,
yeah.
But, man, yeah, a third match between JT and Reilly has all the makings of an excellent, entertaining match for sure. That's going to do it for this week's Schmoedown Rundown Season Premiere Edition. Before we get out of here, I got to tell you, once again, I got to give a lot of love to Jay Williams, who came up with our new graphic. It is fantastic. And all the people that submitted graphics to me when I made the call to arms that we wanted a new show graphic for this season, they're all excellent. Jay Williams, man, I've said it to you in email. I've told you on Twitter. Amazing talent. He does the artwork for our show now. He does the Schmoeville After Show artwork. Dude is fantastic. So show Jay Williams some love and tell him you like the new show graphic. My name is Aaron. You can find me on Twitter at ATTitanium. Frank, where can you be found, sir, and what do you have going on?
Find me on Twitter at FrankieJ29. Also in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Facebook page. I'm trying to answer a lot of guys' questions about the Fantasy League and commenting on your leagues and stuff. That's been a lot of fun. Of course, you can check out a column of sorts on the schmoedown.com website that should be up hopefully on this Monday. So look for that.
Fantastic. Paul Wolf, sir, what you got going on?
Well, other than being up and down those Facebook pages with the fan movie trivia Schmoedown, the fantasy page, all the Schmoevilles, everything. I'll be there. Just find me at Paul Wolf. You'll also find me on Twitter at the Mr. Wolf. I actually started up a YouTube channel for those people who have teenagers or middle schoolers for math. Since I am a school teacher, I'm doing math videos now, and that's kind of a fun thing I'm doing. It's called the Aftermath because it'll be after math.
I don't get
it.
I don't understand it.
You uncultured swine. And then you'll find me on Instagram at the Mr. Wolf 12.
Fantastic stuff. I got to point out something that one of our listeners, Graham Butler, pointed out to me, that the hashtag SDFL actually goes to like an English soccer team. I think is what it was, and that was a crack up. So, so if you want to keep hashtagging SDFL and you're wondering why is it going to a soccer team, don't worry about it. It's fine. So I appreciate that.
So we'll claim it as our own.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. This is our hashtag, F off. All right. And as always, subscribe to the SK Podcast channel on YouTube and iTunes. Rate, review, subscribe. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next week. It's the Schmoedown Rundown. We'll see you next week.